Membership is our number one internal priority for Rotary International. Article 5 states that in our policies, and then our number is to eradicate polio. I want to talk a little bit about how far Rotaract has come. Since 2019 and that council legislation, Rotaract has been elevated to be an actual membership type. So you're a member just like Rotarians. But if you think about all the things that have happened since then, you can now serve on international committees for Rotary International. You can actually do your own international grants and apply for them without a sponsoring club. You could actually sponsor your own club, Rotaract Club, Satellite Club, any club you wanted to. You could receive any award that a Rotarian can receive, Service Above Self, Sylvia Whitlock. The board just took a vote recently where each director from each zone gets to pick one Rotaractor to attend the International Assembly in February of 2025. And if you think about it, we actually have our software program. It used to have Rotaract on PeopleSoft, and now that's being transferred to Oracle where the Rotary members are. So you'll be able to get information better. Now, President Stephanie has just formed a task force that's headed up by her vice president, Hans Herman, who is going to study, along with others on the task force, how to make sure that we get you mainstreamed. But I'm just so excited about everything that Rotaract is doing, especially in the Philippines. So I was asked to present tonight on a little bit about membership and the difference in membership between Rotaractors and Rotarians. So I have a little slideshow that I prepared for all of you. And actually, I'm going to share my screen so that I could advance the slides myself. Okay. So, what we're going to focus on today is why people join Rotary and why do they stay. And there's different reasons why people join, and there's different reasons why they stay. And Rotarians stay for different reasons than Rotaractors stay. So all this information that comes here tonight is from our most recent surveys, including the 2022 all-member survey. Now, there was a 2023 survey done that should be released soon, but as of now, these are the most recent numbers that we have. So we have to know when we're talking about attraction for membership, why do people join Rotary? Well, they don't join to do nothing. They join to do something, and they join to do local community service and international service. But they also join for friendship and fellowship and for professional leadership and development. But the percentage of individuals who are Rotaractors who join and the percentage of individuals that are Rotaractors. So we're going to look at all of those. And the difference, it changes for areas around the world. So we're going to discuss all the. How do Rotarians join and stay? Well, they join for community service. And they stay. It's interesting. They stay more for community service and friendship than why they joined. So a lot of people join for one reason, professional connections. Let's say they want to make sure that they advance in their job and their industry and their profession, but then they end up staying for the community service and friendship. So why do they leave? This has to do with retention. So we talk about attractions, why they stay, why they leave. We have to know because we don't want them to leave. Now, the number one reason why members leave is because of club culture or the environment. People join a Rotary club. It's been said that people don't leave Rotary International, they leave a Rotary club. So it's really important when our members join to tell them there's a lot out there that happens. There's action groups, there's fellowships. You can pay to be a paid observer at the Council on Legislation or our International Assembly. We have to let people know about that. And if our cultures are good, people stay. People are excited about it. They invite their friends. But if the culture is not good, then people leave. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that they stay because there's a good culture. Now, how do you know if there's a good culture? The best way to do it is just to do a survey. And you should do a survey about once a year, because if you think about it, the culture is made up of why we do things at our meetings. But it changes every year, because if you think about it, people are coming and people are leaving. So as the people turn over, there's going to be a change in that culture. Now, some people meet for unmet expectations, and some people cited financial and time commitments, which is mostly a value proposition. It's not so much that Rotary is too expensive, it's just that we're not delivering the value that we promised our Rotarians and Rotaractors when they came. So when it comes to satisfaction, the great news is a high percentage, 87% of our Rotarians are satisfied. And when you go down, break it in, they're very satisfied with the club service and community service. They're pretty satisfied with the youth service. They're a little bit less satisfied with the vocational service. It's interesting because Rotary started as a business networking group, for gentlemen who wanted to trade business. But then over the years, it turned into a service organization. Well, it's actually a membership organization that does the world's best service. But so some of our clubs have drifted away from vocational service. So it's good that we take these surveys and know that that's something we can work on. And this is especially true for Rotaract clubs as compared to Rotary clubs. Feel comfortable with their clubs. Well, if they feel comfortable, they'll stay and they'll bring their friends and family members, people they work with, people they worship with, their neighbors, their friends. Now, 89% say that they have personal relationships deal everywhere around the world. I was saying that it changes a little bit in certain areas of the world, but friendship and camaraderie is important to all Rotarians we surveyed around the world. And there's a quote by Paul Harris that on friendship and on informed, and that is so true. The key is to get and keep our Rotarians happy for the first few years, because basically we lose 10% of our members that joined in the year they joined, and we lose just over 50% within 3 years. But we found out that once we keep them for 3 years, they've have those friendships, so they don't leave. And most of our members enjoy club meetings and do meet friends while they're in Rotary. Now, there's our programs that add value. When I say add value, people will not join and they won't stay for these reasons, but they add value. People feel more meaningful, a more meaningful experience because they have these things. So youth exchange is a big deal. It adds a lot of energy to clubs. And a lot of times clubs don't have youth exchange because they feel like they're not a large enough club to do it. Our average club nowadays is 31 people. Back in 1996, it was over 60. But if that's the case, you could partner up with a club and do it that way. Rotary Community Corps, which you in the Philippines do great. We could do better in North America on that. District grants, global grants, again, that engagement of our members, having them do something excites them, then they want to stay. And youth programs, especially RILA, the Rotary Leadership Youth Awards. So people who are satisfied get more satisfied, our members do, when we have these programs. But the number one thing the surveys show is that club experience matters more than anything else. So it's really important that our members feel comfortable where they are. If we have a good club experience, a good culture, everything goes well. We raise more money. We do more service projects, both locally and internationally. We're having members come in. We're raising more money for polio. We're having good socials and good meetings. But if the club experience is not good, then the club's not running well, and that's when membership declines. So that's why it's so important to do those surveys. And it doesn't have to be complicated. There's 7 type of different assessment tools that Rotary International has. When we ask clubs, Rotaract clubs and Rotary clubs, most clubs do not do surveys. And when they do surveys, they usually do exit surveys. Well, exit surveys are okay, but it's not the best time to do a survey, because if you think about it, it's too late to change what they don't like and keep them. And sometimes when people are leaving, they'll give you an honest answer as to why they're leaving. So doing a survey once a year and doing it either by your board of directors or your members, and you can get one of Rotary's forms and do that, but you can change it if you think it's too wordy or too long, too verbose. You could put it into SurveyMonkey or another program and do it that way. And if you have a small club, it could be as simple as just calling up your members and saying, do you like our programs? Do you like our service projects? Do you like our socials? Do you like where we meet? Do you like when we meet? But it's very important to get that feedback. And if you actually take a survey, they're going to feel like they belong to the club. They're going to feel like they have a say in it. They're going to feel like they're a part of it. And if you actually make the changes that the majority of club members want, then they're going to really have that buy-in and they're going to stay and your membership is going to grow because they're happy and they'll bring in others. So when do you know a Rotarian is satisfied? Well, there's 4 key things that drive Rotarian satisfaction. Comfort with the club members, positive impact in the community. Remember the reason they join and why they stay, that community service. Confidence in club leadership. And some of the surveys we took, confidence in club leadership was the number 1 thing for Rotaractors, and it was the number 2 thing for Rotarians. So Rotaractors really want good leadership. So we have to make sure that we have good presidents. And we've all seen it. The year that we have a good president, we grow. The year that we have a not so engaged president, it doesn't go as well. And of course, we have to have enjoyable club meetings. You have to have good speakers. You got to end on time. You got to start on time. And never make your Rotarians come earlier than you need them or stay later than you need them. So how do you make a club meeting fun? Well, really, it's the personal friendships, the relationships. And you don't have this problem in Rotaract, but in time getting younger people to join. And so many times we'll bring in a young person, but it'll be the only young person, and they feel like they don't have anything in common with the people who are older. So what Rotary needs to focus on is bringing in classes of younger people, 2 or 3 at a time instead of just 1, and give them a class project. When someone joins your Rotary club, if you give them a project and let them be active, then they're going to know people. Then they're going to have someone to sit with when you have meetings. That's going to be much more fun for them. And we want to make sure that we start on time. Speakers and other guests as well. Different areas of the world want different things. So remember we said friendship and fellowship, important all over the world. But when it comes to social status and reputation, that's more important in India, Africa, the Middle East, and Central and Southeast Asia. Career and professional development are important, again, in India, Japan, especially Japan, Africa, Middle East, and Latin America. International service is important in Africa and the Middle East and Latin America. And community service is pretty much important everywhere except Japan. And youth service is important everywhere except Japan. And vocational service is extra important in Japan. Now, it's going to change a little bit by age group, which is what I want to talk about now. So if you're under 40 years of age, what the studies show is we want to make an impact locally and globally, and we're looking for professional connections, and you want to work with youth. So those are individuals who are on the younger side of things. But when individuals go and they get older to 40 to 60 years of age, then they're focused on their career. They're very interested in community service where they live, as opposed to international service, and youth service. Again, that's the time when they're building their families. They're trying to get good reputations in their communities and in their industries. Now, when individuals turn 60 years old, they focus more on friendship, on fellowship, and service, including international service. Now, why is that? Because at that age, a lot of folks have worked hard their whole life and now they're retired. So they're more into the friendship as opposed to career development. And their families have moved on. Their children have gone to university or moved out. So it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. So, but we have to be realistic when it comes to Rotarians and Rotaractors. They're different. And they have different needs and they have different skills. And if we want to grow Rotaract, we have to know where we need to focus. So when it comes to why Rotarians join, again, community service, friendship, international service, professional connections. But look at that bottom line where Rotaractors join. The most important thing is that green box at the end, that 15% leadership skill. That is not the same as Rotarians. So if we want to actually have people join Rotaract, we have to have those leadership skills. Of course, they want to rub shoulders with people of significance in their industry, but we have to teach them to be leaders. We have to let them be officers. We have to give them opportunities to do different things. So those leadership skills are important. You know, being president of your club, you learn how to give a speech, you learn how to run a meeting, you learn how to plan a meeting, you learn how to facilitate. All those things are very important for Rotaractors. So then we say, why do we stay? That's the retention, the engagement part. Rotarians are, again, community service, friendship, international service, professional connections. Again, look at that green box on the bottom right. Rotaractors stay because they want those leadership skills. Give speeches. We can bring in people that teach you how to do computer skills. We can develop mentor and mentee relationships between the Rotarians and the Rotaractors. And that would fit in well with that age category we were talking about. We were saying that older Rotarians, 60 years and older, they want to have those friendships, they want to have relationships. Well, maybe they can serve as mentors who are in the same industry that they are in and help them develop those leadership skills. Okay, so overall Rotaractor satisfaction. Rotaractors want to have confidence in their club leadership. They want to have sometimes they want to have impact. If you think about it, our traditional Rotary clubs, they do a lot of different things. They might feed the homeless. They might pick up trash along the highway. They may rake leaves for the elderly. But if you look at our new clubs, especially the cause-based clubs, they focus on one area, such as the environment or ending human trafficking or servicing veterans. So think about that when you're forming your Rotaract clubs. You may want to have them cause-based. They care about youth and vocational services. They want enjoyable club meetings. So it's important to have different types of speakers at these meetings. So it's not always having only politicians or only scientists or only authors or only nonprofits. Have different kinds of people, have musicians come in. Make those meetings fun by having those good speakers. And of course, friendships and personal connections, very important to Rotaractors. Now, this is interesting. Why Rotaractor members leave are different than why Rotarians leave. Personal circumstances of Rotaractors are more significant. When you're a Rotaractor, you're in that transitory time in your life. Many of you are starting families, many of you are finding jobs, many of you are moving into new professions and changing locations for those new jobs. So those personal circumstances are a real deal, more so for Rotaractors than it is for Rotarians. Lack of engagement. Rotaractors want to be engaged. They are people of action. If we don't give them things to do, then they're going to go somewhere else to get those. Time commitments are a real deal for Rotaractors who are working and have families. And if we don't have those professional connections, they're not going to stay. So we have to also talk about the opportunities to grow Rotaract. Considering all that data that we just went through, these are the things we need to do to grow Rotaract in the Philippines and really around the world. We need to increase opportunities for vocational service. So service within our industries. We have to help them find professional contacts. We can't just talk about it. We need to bring in speakers who own companies, who run companies, and we have to make sure that our Rotarians are sharing their contacts with our Rotaractors and actually assist members to help them find mentors. And it could be a cross mentor relationship where Rotaractors have a lot to teach Rotarians when it comes to social media and marketing. And I know that was an emphasis we talked about today. So the mentorship goes both ways, but we have to provide those opportunities. So how can we drive membership growth? Nowadays, we have to be hyper personalized. We have to find Rotaractors join, not just as a group. I'm giving you general organizations tonight, but we need to talk to our Rotaractors and say, why did you join? Are you happy? Are we delivering the value that you want. So we need to talk to them about that. We need to make sure that they actually spend time in club activities and projects because when they do, that's when they make their friends. If they start drifting away and stop coming to meetings, stop coming to socials, stop coming to service projects, we need to pick up the phone and send them a text or a WhatsApp or direct message and say, "Hey, we miss you. Come back." Um, we can ask them how they want their club meetings to be. But we need to make sure that they feel welcome and we are welcoming. We're happy. If it's an in-person meeting, greet them at the door, shake their hand, smile. And if there is a conflict between members, sometimes that happens, we need to address it right away and not just pretend it doesn't exist because that's when people will feel like it's not a good culture for them. So there's lots of tools. I've sent this PowerPoint over to your organizers here. But Rotary's got lots of tools and reach out to the Rotaractors, can reach out to Rotarians, you can reach out to your governor, you can reach out to me. President Stephanie and I are always here to help.